Articles, which is 55, 56, and 12, meeting minutes, new business, old business, public access, and adjournment. So, this is 7 p.m., I just need to make my notes. So for article, we're going to start with Article 55. I had a conversation with the moderator this morning, and she's confirmed we can go forward with a motion of recommendation to be provided at the town meeting. And so when the numbers actually do arrive, we can make our motion that evening. Mm-hmm. So that we're good to go forward with that.
So I'll make a motion that we do that.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, that's on Article 55, recommendation at town meeting. And that's Jim and MC. So we should have, numbers hopefully when we'll meet prior to with the numbers just so we can formalize our motion.
To be persnickety,
Yeah, go ahead.
will you post it as a meeting? Because we sit as residents.
No, we're going to do it before that night. We'll meet like
Okay.
the week before because, my practice of meeting on the actual night of the town meeting is only if it's absolutely
Okay.
a dire emergency, because otherwise it's like herding cats.
Okay.
Because everyone's being pulled in a million directions. All right, so I have a first and a second for a recommendation at town meeting. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? All right, that's 8-0. Now, are you Mr. Harrington? Yes. All right, so Mr. Harrington is here to address us for the Betterment Committee article. So come on up, and we'll take that up right now. That's Article 12 from the annual town meeting warrant. Oh, and I should note, sorry, just a technicality again,
Okay.
that we are now using file FY27 FinCom ATM warrant version 2, V02, and the same thing with the STM warrant, it's file fiscal year 27 FinCom STM warrant version 2. Okay, so my understanding is you're here to help explain to us what the project entails for the Big Alum Lake, correct?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm happy to. I actually am not quite sure the nature of me being here. I just know that there are some questions. So is it just what are we doing?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So the proposal for the Betterment funds was to conduct a lake study on Big Alum Lake to ascertain the reasons, the underlying reasons for the acceleration of aquatic weeds and algae within the waters. We've never, since it's been a very, very long time since anyone's taken a look at the lake and watershed to understand what the underlying issue is. This, of course, is
Could you just say what the issue is? What are you experiencing?
So we are experiencing, like many lakes in the region, worsening nuisance weeds, invasive weeds, and algal blooms. Why this is happening is subject to lots and lots of opinions in the area. Ever since I've taken up this post as the environmental chair, I've heard everyone's opinion on the matter, and honestly, I just want to know what the issue is and how this pertains to the community at large, which I'm sure is an underlying question. Is that this is 200 acres of beautiful open space in Sturbridge, Massachusetts.
So basically the problem is weeds and not any algae blooms or anything like that yet?
No, it's both. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, weeds and algal blooms. Yep.
You have a public boat launch?
Yes, it's a state boat launch. I am the chair of the environmental committee under Big Alum Lake Association. I have nothing to do with the state. So the state owns the lake. The state owns the boat launch.
Kevin, if I could just jump in on that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I happened to be at a meeting with the woman who works for fisheries. She is aware of the question you all had about accessibility, and she is going to review to ensure that it conforms with all regulations that they need to follow, because obviously the state does have regulations.
Yeah, I mean, it looks wide enough. I mean, you can drive
Yeah. I mean, it's a well-used boat ramp. I can tell you that. Yeah, lots and lots of people prefer it as their destination for fishing and recreating. in the area, and those community members are certainly welcome to do so.
And they bring stuff from other lakes on their boats?
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
yes. That's like 3 steps down the road. I think step number 1 is just figuring out what's happening so that we can kind of get some eyes on our head as we try to take.
This never happened to this lake before, this phenomena. Has never happened to this lake before?
Yes, this would be another one of those like subject to many opinions. But yeah, the thing you hear again and again, and I can attest because I grew up actually on the lake, even as a kid. My parents raised me right on Big Elm Lake. So yeah, what you hear again and again is it didn't used to be like this, and then you know the things that are being discussed is. Whether it's lawn fertilizer or longer growing seasons, climate change, is it weeds from other boats coming in, and which would be very relevant information to ascertain. Since I took up this post, because I immediately learned that everybody has an opinion, I put my own opinions away because clearly we just need to figure it out.
So the plan is to hire a firm or something?
Yeah, so the magic word here is limnology. That's the study of lakes. And so we are looking for, basically some sort of consultant. But of course I applied for the Betterment thing in the fall, right? Mm-hmm. And before I knew whether or not I'd get even this far, I still knew I needed to undertake this. I said right in the Betterment application, I think one of the questions was, what will you do if you don't get this? And I said, well, I got to keep going. We'll do what we got to do to pull it off, because it's really important for the whole community, honestly. And so I already started doing my research on different companies who might be able to fulfill this. I have been made aware of the processes that would need to occur to satisfy the needs of the Betterment. There needs to, it would be a Betterment contract, and they need to like pull their quotes and stuff like that. So I can't tell you who we have selected because
you haven't.
We kind of aren't the ones to make the selection, I guess, but then the contract is ours. So it's a little bit clunky, but we would be very appreciative for that $20K to get us.
Has other lakes in the area experienced the same thing? So rather than reinventing the wheel, if somebody's already done testing on it, and there's another lake, whether it's Cedar or a bigger lake around, there's a lot of lakes around here.
Yeah.
I said, the same thing happened, and we did a study, and this was the solution.
Yeah, well, I've been working really closely with Lauren over at the Conservation Commission. She's been a fantastic ally, and the whole Conservation Commission has been truly fantastic for us to work with. They are really excited about what we're up to and what we're trying to do here, and I think they're seeing us as an excellent opportunity locally to sort of like potentially pave a new way. Because another thing that we're not getting into is herbicide treatments and whether or not that's the right thing to do for the health of the lake and also for the health of I just think of the kids, but all of us, because there's concerns about there might be some health risks there, and if it's not giving us the results we need because we've been doing herbicide treatments for a long time, that's the people who do the treatments have been like the primary source forever as to like what is the problem and how to fix it, which is a little bit, as you can see, a little bit like the fox watching the hen house. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that there's no herbicide treatments in our future, but I am working closely with conservation, who is also working, broadly speaking, with the other lakes in the town, and SLAC, which is the subcommittee for the lakes. For example, you were asking about other lakes in the region. I know that Lauren has a meeting, if she hasn't already had it, she's going to have one soon with Webster Lake, who I don't know if you saw, they got shut down for a lot of last summer because of the cyanobacteria, blue-green algal outbreak. And that kind of stuff really spooks me. And that's the kind of thing where I don't want to show up and find out we've got a blue-green algae thing going on and not have a plan ready or not have anything unlocked. So, that's where a lot of the collaboration. I mean, I had no idea what I was getting into when I took this volunteer position, but it's been cool and exciting, and honestly, it's been I really appreciate having this conversation, and the Betterment thing is a great opportunity too.
So, Larry, you had a question?
I think I've got this right. Many years ago, there was, and there could still be, an association of lake associations. And there was a widespread agreement that boats from one body of water were entering other waters, and every lake was infecting every other lake.
Yeah.
So there was a massive cleanup, and there was a barring of moving vessels until everything was clean. And then there was a kind of a informal policing, where if a strange boat showed up, you had to explain where it was.
Yep.
And there was even sort of a wipe down that was
Yeah.
done on the hulls. Is anything like that underway or envisioned?
Yeah, so I just took this post as environmental chair for Big Alum Lake, and I'm in it for the long haul because I grew up on the lake. I care about the lake, and I'm raising kids on the lake. So I am really interested in eventually getting there. I would call that like black belt stuff, like to be able to be in a position to get, in some way compel somebody putting a boat in to spray down, wipe down, whatever it might be. I love those ideas. It's just not where we're at yet, because like right now, honestly, we're still bickering about what's the problem. And so that's what I need. That's where I need to start. I just need to, like, first and foremost, put a rock solid, scientifically backed foundation of like, here are the contributing factors. Here's what we can do to fix it. Otherwise, yeah, like a boat wash at the boat ramp would be a really expensive undertaking. Is that what needs to happen? Maybe, but maybe there's like 4 things we should do first. And I just don't know that, right? And so we'll get there. And I mean, I've learned that like the state of New York has some incredibly stringent regulations, like when you take a boat out, they put a unique plastic like ring where if the boat, it would break if the boat were used again, right? And so it would be, if a person comes back with that ring still there, that boat has only been in this lake since the last time, right? Whereas if the ring is gone, they need to wash the boat. So that's an example of what they've done in a place like Lake George or something. But that takes a lot of like staffing, and so that's like a huge thing. And of course, in that case, it's the state. It's not like it's not Lake George. Yeah.
Jimmy, you had a question?
Yeah, well, some of us on this committee might remember, it was only a few years ago that we had to do something in conjunction with, East Brookfield, because Salt Pond is half.
Yeah,
portion of it,
right. That
and
was
they had to
an
do a similar
alum.
thing with that.
Yeah.
And that is a complicated situation, because there's so many residents
Yes.
on the lake that have their own boats, and the launch is at the north end in East Brookfield. But you couldn't have one town do it and the other town not
Sure,
do it.
yeah.
So we worked together with them, and they got it cleaned up. So I don't remember what year that was, but it wasn't that long
Yeah,
ago.
I've heard about that. That was an alum treatment, and those are, very expensive. It's a great way of sequestering the phosphorus to the lake
And
bed.
that is one
Yeah.
of the deepest lakes in Massachusetts.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe there's an alum treatment in our future. For me, the route to that sort of expenditure would be through grants, but the way to get to the grants would be to start with data. You need good data. So that's where I am now. It's just like, we just kind of got to start from the ground up.
And I should have had you do this before, but I knew you were coming, so I just want to make sure for the record, it's Tim Harrington.
Yes.
And it's Big Alum Lake Association Environmental Chair,
Yes. Nailed it. Thank you.
just so you get it in the minutes. Are there any other questions related to this? Okay, so I'll take a motion for Article 12. Thank you for coming to clarify.
Oh, yeah,
what-
yeah. Thanks for asking the questions, and appreciate all the support we're getting.
I'll make the motion.
Go for it. Oh, you're making it, you're just saying that, okay, and Larry seconds, okay. So to approve it as written. Thank you. All right. Now that I got that all straightened out, any other questions, comments? All those in favor? 8-0. Great, thank you so much for your
Thanks,
time,
y'all.
thanks for
Appreciate it.
coming.
Thank you.
Good night. Thanks.
Okay, so we had taken care of Article 55, so let's go back to Article 56, because we don't have that number yet, although it does look to be a big number. It's going to take our free cash number probably under what we left last year's annual town meeting with. So,
This is the snow removal? the unpaid.
We did 55, yeah, snow and ice I'm talking about, sorry. So, yeah, now we're talking about unpaid bills. At this point, there aren't any, but we don't know what's going to happen between now and the annual town meeting. So I would entertain a motion here for recommendation to be provided at the annual town meeting as well.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Larry? All right, so that's Article 56. Rage Against the Machine. No, it's recommendation to be provided at town meeting. And that was Jim and Larry again. All right, any other questions or comments? All those in favor? That's 8-0. Great, so now we need to go to Article 57. And what I'd like to do is, we took no action based under the assumption of what the prior moderator would allow us to do. And so I'd like, you remember the bids for this contract aren't open until April 14th, so we will have a number by the annual town meeting. We just don't know yet, so
If I realize that you're the Finance Committee historian, I'm an apprentice. Actually, I think there's a distinction to be made between what I understood you to say
okay.
and what was true.
All right, what do we do?
What the prior moderator told the Finance Committee was, you had all kinds of time to decide. That's why I appointed you, and you didn't decide.
Right.
Why? This was when there were 8 members. There had been for two and a half years, only 7 members with vacancies. Not to say it was only a 7-member committee. It was a 9-slot committee. And then there came an 8th, and there was an issue. This was when the committee met upstairs in the old senior center. And the vote was 4-4, and the discussion was so effective that every one of the 8 switched sides in succeeding or successive motions 3 times, meaning everybody was really listening to everybody else. Then the committee, and here's the distinction, reported that it was unable to reach an agreement on a recommendation. Not that there was not sufficient information. There was. It just kept turning out of 8 to be 4-4, and a tie motion fails.
And one of the things I kind of recall, and maybe, it's just the fogs of time getting in the way, is that, same thing was true, is that he used to say, you had all this time to consider and come up with a motion. And if you couldn't, then you aren't making the motion on the floor. Someone else is going to have to make a motion, and then you can chime in on it.
After everybody else in the meeting spoke.
Exactly. So, but at this point, we really do not have the numbers. We don't have the information to make a recommendation and to go to something I think you also highlighted that, and other people have highlighted to me, is that by us putting a motion of take no action out there, it makes it look like we're not in favor of something when we actually really don't have a position yet at all. And
That is a collateral or a closely related topic, for sure. I'm saying that in days of yore, we had the information as a committee. We just couldn't agree on it. And we tried. That is what the prior moderator took exception to. He said, I put you there to decide. Now, we're in the kitchen and we don't have the ingredients. That's why we can't decide. That's a difference.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
Well, I'm only an apprentice, and you're the chair.
So what I do need, though, is a motion to reconsider Article 57 so we can vacate our old one. So Larry is first and second. Okay, so reconsideration. We have Larry, and then Jim is the second. So all we're going to do here is vote on reconsideration, which basically erases the prior recommendation of the Finance Committee. So all those in favor of... So that's 8-0. Great.
So that erases the no action.
That is correct. So now I would entertain a motion here of also doing recommendation to be provided at town meeting, since we will have a number for a fact by that point. Okay, so Larry
I second.
and MCP. All right, everybody understand that? All right, all those in favor? Great. So that gets us 8-0, and that gets us through the warrant articles for this evening. I just forgot to bring up my document, but coming next week, because obviously you know Mike isn't here tonight, and he will be here next week. I'm trying to remember the warrant, let's see. Gotta get to the next week's agenda, which hasn't been posted yet. So, 12. We are bringing back Article 13th Capital Improvement Plan to have a follow-up discussion based on the meeting with the Select Board. So I just wanted to make sure everyone's aware of that coming. So
Is that about because of the sidewalk plow machine?
that is correct.
Okay, I'd like to make an observation for everybody on that. I did that route, down Route 20, okay? From the hotel on the corner at 131, all the way to Route 48 and back. So there's sidewalks on both sides, and then they're broken up a little bit. But just so everyone knows, within a tenth of a mile, that's 2.5 miles of sidewalk. And a lot of that sidewalk, the telephone poles are right in the middle of the sidewalk. So I don't know how they plow that, but that's part of the reason that was brought up to have this piece of equipment, because it made plowing those sidewalks easier, because they can't get a big piece of equipment on that sidewalk. So that's how she sold it, that's how I took it, and I took it upon myself to measure the distance, 2.5 miles total. So every time they plow the road and the snow goes on the sidewalk, they have to plow the sidewalk again. So that might mean they have to plow that sidewalk 2 or 3 times every snowstorm. So if you want to do the arithmetic and take a machine that's going to last 15 years, you
It
might be
can
able
be
to...
used for other purposes.
It
so.
can be used for other purposes, that might make some sense to some of us. It certainly makes sense to me.
Yep. But I just wanted to make sure you were aware that that looks like that's the only article we have outstanding.
The only other point I brought up, I believe, that night was when you hire a contractor to do plowing, you pay them whether they plow or it doesn't snow. You hire a contractor on a contract, that's typical today. There's no more per storm. It's always you sign the season. If it doesn't snow, you pay them the whole season, right, Mike?
And if you get a whole lot of
They gotta do
snowstorms,
it twice as much. Like this year, they took a bath, but in the past,
unless you had a clause in it,
unless you...
so many inches of snow.
Yeah. Well, we plow for every inch, remember that? Well, we are, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, I just wanted to reemphasize those points.
And the last thing on here, Ken had asked to place a topic about the economy budget analysis. So, I sent some information out to everyone related to it.
And I'd like to speak on that. And I would like to make a motion to table that item and table the discussion on that item.
Second.
Okay.
And by means of explanation, I think we all are aware of who is the body that approves approves not only the tax rate based on the principal assessor's recommendation when she does arrive at it, but they also decide on how the tax rate is distributed across the different categories. And that's the Board of Selectmen.
Oh, it's the assessors and then the board of selectmen agree.
She does a presentation to the
Right.
Board of Selectmen, and then they vote on it. And they voted this way this past year, although I couldn't get the documentation. But in '24, it was included in the minutes with a detailed explanation of why they do what they do. And also, aside from that, I don't believe we can have an effective conversation about this, being this a public meeting, and it's our opinion, but it's not fact. I don't think we can do that without at least the Select Board being here, and perhaps the principal assessor, if she wants to bring her Board of Assessors, and of course, the TA and the Finance Director, and whoever else the TA feels is necessary to have at that type of a meeting. But I think that the only way we can really address this and do a service to the public in a public meeting that's on TV and going to be recorded is to have all the contributors on site to do that conversation. That's my personal feeling, so that's why I made the motion.
Go ahead, Larry.
The reason I seconded it is, well, everything that the motion states. And I am like-minded with Jim, standing on the shoulders of that list he mentioned, I would add the business development director. There is someone who's supposed to bring business in and makes presentations about tax rates as well as public safety and other matters. The entire planning board, as well as the town planner, they have a responsibility. The zoning board of appeals, of course, you know, it could have something to do with restaurant seating or parking. Members of the philanthropic receiving part of the community, they do receive gifts from businesses. You cannot spend the same money twice. If this notion became actual, then the money that would have gone through generosity, philanthropic steps, won't. It'll go to taxes. And there are other parts of the local government that I think need to be represented to make a full discussion. And I would say that all means all, that the only way to convene such a roundtable is to have the entire planning board, the entire finance committee, everybody, not just a representative, because the more voices, the more sunlight. And this is something that was tried for 4 or 5 years, several years ago.
Just fiscal year 2005 through 2010.
Right. So there was a reason it was tried, and there was a reason it was untried. That has to be held up to scrutiny, and it requires everybody to be in the same room at the same time. And the piece of writing just has to wait until it can be held up to sunlight in the views of all people involved. That'll take time, I realize. Might even roll to the next year, you never know.
Copies for the whole board.
Oh, can I say something, or?
Yeah, we're part of the, we're in the discussion of motion to table. So.
I'm all key on all the ins and outs. Yeah, the reason this was written, and we seem to have a systemic problem of some sort, I mean.
We don't want to get into the details.
No, but I
got a motion to table.
Okay,
So-
well.
So why shouldn't it be tabled?
The reason it shouldn't be tabled, I think wasn't a begin all and end all scenario. This was going to be a discussion, open discussions as to, we seem to have a problem or problems. And by the time we get the information,
What
the
would be
budget
the problem,
department.
though? I mean,
Well, I'll put it this way, the taxes seem to be high, and then some of the departments need more resources, and we don't have the resources for them, and we're talking about overrides, and we're talking about going down the path, something's gonna have to give. I don't think it's a people problem here. I think it's somewhat systemic problem as to how we're organized. We got part of rural, part commercial. And a lot of the people in the town voted for rural. That's what they liked here. That was the survey. And that's fine. It's our town. That's our responsibility. With that responsibility comes a cost, right? So if you have 50 acres of trails or open space, you don't have development. So the townspeople voted on that. That's fine. So where are we? And where we go from here, knowing that that situation exists? And in the meantime, we have other issues coming up, whether it's water, sewer, and the like. So this is not one idea, and I respect the group, and I was talking with Robin about that. I think this group can contribute more in discussions as to saying, we got some issues coming down. What are some of the ideas that may be able to solve the problem systemically? You could say, we talk about it, and doesn't work. I have no problem with that. Where are the rest of the ideas? I think we can contribute more as a group. That's what I'm saying. If this is the wrong format for this and somewhere else, and we don't want to generate these ideas, fine, we can go somewhere else with it or bring other people in. I just want, if we have a problem, and it seems to be systemic, I think we need to address it and see with all our expertise of 270 or 300 years of experience in this room, how do we get out of the problem or improve it? That's what this was about.
One way of looking at the words on the paper, I don't know what the intention was. I haven't passed my course in mind reading. I do know the mother tongue. And the first thing that occurred to me is, well, let's just suppose that the Board of Select Board says, damn it, enough is enough. We're going to talk to the next Charter Review Committee, and we're going to take away from the Finance Committee any articles to do with zoning. They don't come to the moderator. They don't come to the Finance Committee. They just go and talk about it. They put it out there. That is what this is when you read with a dictionary. Just capital N, capital O.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments?
Does anybody agree there seems to be an issue or systemic issue based on, or is that different- is that
I
a different
wouldn't,
thing?
see, I wouldn't term it a systemic issue. I would agree with you that there have been decisions made in the past that may be in line with what the general populace wants.
Right?
Where, those financial chickens are now coming home to roost. But I wouldn't say that was a systemic problem, that was a result of the system. So the system isn't flawed, it went through, choices were made.
Well, I'm not
Now
saying-
we're at the point we're at.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not saying the system was flawed. What I'm saying, in the town.
You call it a systemic issue, which
Systemic
is
is
the
a basic,
impression that
it's a
flawed.
core issue. In other words, we're talking about the budget here. We can talk all day long about the budget, but when the townspeople correctly, and it's, again, our town, their town, voted for open space, and per the surveys I read from 10 years ago, open space is number one by far, education and safety, right? That's fine, it's their town, and they made the right choice because it's their town. So when somebody wants a racetrack or equestrian center, and they say no, that's the choice, that's fine, but there's consequences to it, and that affects us, because we can get this budget in here, and we can say, okay, let's vote on this, the Alum Lake, $20,000, that's all well and good, but the basis of where we're going overall, based on the way we're situated, is different. It's not going to, $20,000 for Alum Lake is not going to solve the problem of having a large portion of the town that's set up to be rural.
You do realize, don't you, that you have written something that hangs its hat on data that will very soon not count. It will be replaced. The planner has underway right now, with the March 31 deadline, a replacement for the data you're relying on.
I've been asking for it for months, and I know it's coming down the pike. I realize that. I can only work with what I have. I can't work with what I don't have. I'm not a mind reader either.
Well, but the word F-U-T-U-R-E does exist. It's coming.
Yeah.
And when it arrives, it will bring with it the replacement data. We all know that.
You,
And it's
hold on.
it's generally accepted that a SIP rate won't work at the level we're at. We have 15% of the tax base is in the SIP rate. 85% is in residential real estate. Do you know what you'd have to do to that 15% rate in order for them to get to the levels you propose in this? You'd have to triple or quadruple their assessment per thousand. You'd have to triple or quadruple it. For it, as an example, Worcester has a split rate, okay? But their SIP portion is 38%. Ours is 15. We'd have to tax the people in that category to bankruptcy to get the money out of them to do this. And I'll make one other point. The nice thing about business is, even though they're at the same rate, they're making a contribution, but the business itself isn't putting kids in Burgess, or Tantascwa Junior, or Tantascwa Senior High School at the cost of thousands of dollars a year. So they're contributing beyond what they're costing. That's my premise. They contribute more than they cost to have them here. And on top of that, we have a special tax consideration, where we get, I don't know, what is it, $1 million a year back from the state because of, in the hotel and restaurant industry? It's a bunch of money. So I'll say again, I think that the business, commercial and industrial, the yield to us is greater, far greater than the cost that we incur by having them present in our community. And with that, I'll just,
Well, I have, thanks to the very diligent finance director, I have the department, or the Division of Local Services data on your point. It runs from from 2025 back to 2017. That's the data. And it jumps around, obviously, the pandemic, but when you have 17 consecutive rainy weekends, you see it in the numbers. So, yes, there's no question that there is money that is very useful.
I think we're going
to the
off
town.
the motion of the table, right? We're getting into the arguments here.
Yep, okay.
So, all right. Any other comments on the motion to table? And to try and take it up at a later point in time. All right. All those in favor of the motion to table? And opposed? So, okay, 7-1. All right. Moving on. Meeting minutes of February 17th. I resent those today just in case, you know, it's been a while. It's the only meeting minutes we have at this point in time. As you know, we've had two very marathon sessions prior to this one. So the minutes might be a little behind because they're going to be lengthy.
gotta take a break.
So, go ahead. Yeah, I'm willing to hear anything on the meetings that,
Okay, on the meeting minutes?
Yes.
Okay. The only thing, I hope I have the latest one, but down like near the bottom of the first page, it starts KT asks if the reason of the wells, you have, like, you repeat a sentence. It says, Ty and Bond clarified that, blah, 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 and then after that period, then it's Ty and Bond clarified that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sorry.
I think that's the one I sent you,
Oh, did you say, okay.
but it was so long ago, I forgot.
Yeah, okay, so it's duplicate, the end.
okay. Anybody else have any adjustments to be made to the minutes? So, I'm just trying to find out who you have, Mike, just so I know how the vote's gonna work.
I can vote.
You can?
It's on my, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm here and it's here. I
Okay.
had to check.
No, yeah, exactly. I'm trying to find it. And I should have usually opened it, but I can't find it, so I'm just gonna trust
This
you
is
guys.
February 17th.
MM and MH were both here.
Okay, beautiful.
You've got them right there.
Yeah.
Yes, that's all I want.
Yeah, Kevin and Larry were absent.
Oh,
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, because,
Oh, okay.
well, that's the one where we had to go and excuse ourselves from with the selectmen.
oh, okay. Great. All right then, so I think I heard MC make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
As amended.
I make a second.
Mike makes a second. So all those in favor? 6. All those opposed? 0. All those abstaining? 2. Okay, so that gets us through the minutes that we have, which is great. We have, as you know, I sent out the Larry's first draft proposal for issues for our consideration. And I didn't know if anyone else had anything that really stuck out and that they might want to write a paragraph or two about so that townspeople are aware of an issue that we may have uncovered or stumbled across in our deliberations that has just kind of escaped the light of day. really, in this year, usually I keep track of these things, and I have all types of topics, but this year there weren't a whole heck of a lot, because it's a pretty tight, streamlined budget, and there isn't anything we don't already know a lot about.
What is the objective, what's the objective of writing this?
Of that segment? You wanna,
The section called issue or issues for your consideration is the Finance Committee's endeavor to surface issues or possibly even coming events that require the thought and the advice of the general public. And there is an unknown moment, turning now to the specific, when every square inch will be accounted for. The day that happens, whenever it happens, is late to begin to figure out what to do from a taxation standpoint. Therefore, as a consideration, because the owners and operators of this enterprise are the public, and everybody knows it's coming, now is a good idea, now is a good time to assemble an inventory of the possible ways to move when the knowables, today they're knowable, will occur. And we keep adding as the unknowns become known as time goes by. So I would not call it metaphorically a red flag. I would call it a pink flag. Not today, not tomorrow, not a year from tomorrow. But as the Boy Scouts say, be prepared. That is the motivation or the energy that is what I have tried to convey and the reason for it.
Yeah, because it's great, but what I was thinking too, it seems to take the onus off the people, the uncontrollables and the like. And like what we talked about earlier on, I don't think the amount of land is going to impact us that dramatically. We've already decided we needed 50 miles of trails, and again, the town wants what it wants, and that's a Commonwealth. That's what we do, right? So my thing is, as far as in the body of this, my recommendation is make sure that people understand the responsibility. We've made decisions as a Commonwealth in the past to set up our town the way it's set up, and there's consequences to it. Tax rates, if you have open space, you can't have construction and commercial buildings. That's a choice the people made. It's their town, it's their choice. It's not an uncontrollable, very much uncontrollable. When they want to create a Equestrian Center and everybody votes against it, and we could have ball fields too, by the way, that's a decision the town make. The people in this town are in control, and they should be. They shouldn't be in the whim of an uncontrollable. They control it.
It's an uncontrollable event. Maybe you know something I don't. How do you control a tornado?
Well, I ran businesses and did plans, and I don't think I've ever forecasted. Well, maybe once I was working in Oklahoma.
Well, there was a tornado here.
I remember, yeah, I know the effects,
Well,
but I
there
don't
was.
plan based on.
But you see, that's why there's
I actually
and
think you
NEMA.
both,
And I don't think, I will not want to insult the public by even reminding them of what is their birthright.
What's their birthright?
well,
They're in charge.
well,
Yeah, it's a Commonwealth.
I think you're both talking about this same coin, different sides here, because, I mean, what you're saying is true. You need to be aware that, if your goal is to lower tax rates, there is not a lot of space for us to bring in the sort of industries or businesses that'll help us lower that tax rate. We have such a small finite version of that land the way we're currently configured. And to Ken's point, well, we're currently configured that way because that's what people wanted.
Well, you can control the tax rate artificially, or you can increase the value for the dollars spent.
That's a trick.
It's doable by the people he's talking about. We're just presenting them with what may not have yet crossed their mind.
Correct.
But better that they think about it, or at least be a little elbow in the ribs that the time is coming. That's all. It's due on Wednesday, let's saddle up on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
No, I hear you,
This piece is a draft, it's open, should be massaged.
That's what we're
I'm
talking
not
about.
arguing against that. I am trying to explain how, at least I myself, as a member of the Finance Committee, think that the expression, this, or some version of it, will be understood by the public.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to, because I read this, and I was a bit confused, quite frankly, reading this as to where it was going. But my take is, I think you're right. I don't say hard times are coming, we're in pretty good financial straits, but bad times, or tough times could be coming. My point is that the public should not think that, or should be postured to say, based on the way we're set up, and this gets back, forget my other issue, but this gets back to, we created a town, what we wanted as a town. And if it means ultimately the tax rates have to go up based on our decisions to have a town that we want, so be it. We realize that's where it's coming from. Those are the ramifications. So when they get hit with some more additional taxes, they're realizing that, yeah, we were part of it to set this thing up, and this is our town.
Your point rests on a false assumption. Your false assumption is that the public is a standing army, not a passing parade. If you were right, we would all be wearing tricorn hats, because that's what the people wanted.
I don't get that. I don't get that one at all. But then, okay, I don't know where you come up with that one.
You just got through saying what the people want. Well, what the people want was tricorn hats, and you got to be ready to change.
If they want tricorn hats, and wear them in Sturbridge, that's what we'll wear tricorn hats. That's what the Commonwealth's all about. What am I going to say?
Jesus.
Don't wear it?
I got to work on my articulation. I'm not.
Yeah, it's
I
not.
don't know the tricorn hat. That was a little bit, yeah.
All right. I mean, if we have some suggestions for language, let me know, we'll take a look at it. If we have suggestions for topics, I'd appreciate that as well, because it's.
But I think we could add something to the effect along the lines, and again, this is discussion, correct? We will be potentially in the future having some challenging times as a community, as things change. Maybe the uncontrollables are part of it. We as a Commonwealth will continue to bond together to meet these challenges as a community. Let's be positive,
Well,
but that's,
What the chair just said, I think I endorse wholeheartedly, which is, you got a thought on this, which I hope everybody does, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, send it to him, and we'll open the book and see how it turned out. Fine with me.
And this discussion was covered last year on the projected revenues/risks. And if you read that, that's what we're talking about right now, exactly what was already said in last year's report.
Yeah. Yeah, last year's was
well, I think it's
kind of
probably,
like
I think
the,
year to year probably should change a little bit, I would think.
Oh, I would think, but the
Yeah.
principle is still there. We already.
Well, the principle, I agree with the
We talked it
principle.
today.
I looked at this as a message to the people about what's going on and what's coming down, and be aware of something. That's the way I was looking at it, and how to posture it.
We're a
That's
town,
it.
we have a town meeting, and the legislative body of this town is town meeting. It's
Yeah.
the citizens.
Yeah.
They make the decisions when they vote, if they show up.
Yeah, if they show up, you're right.
And if they don't show up, they have to live with the consequences.
Oh, exactly.
They'll be all over Facebook complaining, the people that don't show up.
That's my whole point. It's your town, and you vote for it, and that's it. And you got control of voting or not voting, or showing up or not showing up. And that was my point.
All right. Any other new business?
God, I hope not.
Any old business? Public access? We only have one member of the public here tonight. Any access? Oh, okay, there we go. And then I would, like, 3 hours early, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Wow.
Well, Mike, do I have a second? Or does everyone want to stay? Oh, Heather, there we go. Bridget, I called you Heather, didn't I?
It's all right.
We're going around in circles in conversation.
Oh, God. All right, I have a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? And we're out of here.